calling to order the Board of Alderman regular meeting for Monday, December 20th. Roll call, please. Sheriff.
Alderman Nutley. Alderman Hudson.
Here.
Alderman Wilkins.
Present.
Alderman Stevens.
Here.
Alderman Rogers.
Present.
Alderman Magley.
Yeah.
All right, if I could get everyone, we have more, I would, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That moves us to number 4, wastewater treatment facility update. And,
yeah. So we're,
oh, we didn't hear you.
so we're addressing a change order for the basins. I'm gonna pay application for part 3 of the earthwork contractor, Fisher Grading. Chris and Parker here. Do you have that, Peter? I don't, Heather, I know I got this to you a little late, but I don't know if it's in front of everyone. And maybe we wanna,
So this is
Talk about the
23
first-
pages, is it, do they need every single bit of this?
no, they, what's the first page? Probably
Just the
just the first 7 pages.
Which one is that for?
The wastewater.
What about the water treatment plant one?
Water one will be 1 through 7.
So for both of those?
Thank you.
Will we do both of them, do the ones, there's 2, right? Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Not doing that anymore. Not doing that.
I'm still sorry.
All of them now.
Oh, I did last night, yeah.
And then you got this up here. This
No,
is
it's
the
gonna
basic
ask you.
paper, but it's
If I
not.
go a day or 2 that, right? I'm still getting a headache, so I guess I'm in trouble.
Oh.
I'm addicted.
Well, I'm gonna refer to you as well. We were talking about it.
I mean, I'll make it pretty weak, big. I don't care. I've been known to have weak
How's
coffee,
it going?
you know,
Good.
but, so I guess I'm
Working.
drinking weak
Where you
coffee
working?
and long, so
We
it'll shock over.
Yeah.
started a project over at Craft Food for Septagon tomorrow.
You still have a shut gun?
Yes, sir.
Or,
Rams last week.
I'll just get these 2 here.
If I drink,
Put in.
We're gonna do a building pad for them, and then we got, they got their building down for them. They work. Chris. Then we got, in January, we're gonna start the Sinclair project up on this thing.
thinking.
Housing.
You could go to work right here.
Yeah.
You like the side grading?
Sewer, water.
All the utilities?
Yeah.
Maybe water work that night?
He's stressed.
Amazing.
Probably would have won that.
I've been working for a farmer since the end of September. I just finished up with him Friday, cleaning waterway, Jeff's in.
Really?
Yep,
Everything okay?
cleaning waterways out and all that. I've been up there since the end of September.
Really? Is that your company?
Yep.
Really? That's awesome. When did you start that?
April will be 2 years.
You don't know?
Oh, yeah.
Good time to start one.
He leaves tomorrow morning.
That's cool. Where did you work before that?
I worked for Ron Stewart.
I don't know, he's
Creative
not,
building
this
and
meeting's on
design.
Wednesday morning, I'm gonna take him
I worked for him for 10 years.
Find out.
More concrete.
Cool.
Yeah.
How you like working for yourself?
People are always.
Boss okay?
So smart.
Yeah.
We don't do much. Shows up. We don't have to go to the office. I ain't been in the office in 6 months. Get your track back on. Credit card reports, everything. Go back home and go all set.
That way you can work this week.
Yeah, so we don't have time to sit there. It's pretty nice.
I don't know, I haven't been out there today.
We'll stay busy.
I say, you know, we got a little rain here on
None of this
Saturday.
infrastructure money is going to come out.
East of the mile, I mean, we have pretty small stuff sitting in places that we have. I don't know what it looked like up there.
He's loud enough, I can confirm.
Once in a while, we find somebody. You wonder why they're leaving, you know, you kind of wonder.
You got something tomorrow.
You give me bottled water.
Just taking care of our employees.
You got to. Yeah, you gotta take care of them. Too many job openings out there.
For that, yeah, maybe they're, I may actually come up here, show us a little choir, so I can hear. Yeah, if you need somewhere to go. Cause I'd say, I may, as long as you're not, you shouldn't have to
I don't deal with that. Yeah, that's right.
do what?
Not saying not to come back.
Yeah, tomorrow, yeah.
Arms out.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, we've been tidying up the last couple of days, making sure gates are locked. Well, we can go in now, we just, well, that's the first thing they'll look at and say, you guys really need to have these gates locked.
I work for the Turkey Federation tonight.
Some days you might wish you every day
I know.
worked for the Turkey Federation.
I like turkey. I am a turkey. That's all I want to do anymore is turkey, man.
Can you do that
I don't care
now?
about deer hunting.
What?
Can you come up here, speak in English, and tell us what's going on?
10-minute deal.
Chop chop.
Which project do you
No.
know about? Cause I feel like it's a Thursday night, Friday night right now from what we went through today, so that's the kind of week we started out with.
Well, Bright Sunday, you're off on Friday, right?
We'll see. Supposed to be off on Friday.
Yeah, but that's water plant.
There's a red stop button on that thing where it can be done.
I'll go out there in any kind of weather. Last year I had 17 out of 21 meetings in Missouri, it was 3 weeks. I
Did
had
you say you're 98 years old?
Yeah.
You are not 98 years old.
It's quiet.
5 days.
My son's birthday's
Yeah.
today. He's 6.
You need me to help you?
Love shopping.
He's Amazon store, so you know.
I missed a lot of their
Yeah.
I do for every Sunday.
The water plant or the wastewater?
Water.
Yep.
I'm not wasting the person.
Yep.
Okay.
The one that says WTE at the top, there should be like 2 things.
I'm getting some.
Yeah. The change orders there.
I'm trying to get out of it.
I can see you know the water.
Change order.
This takes a
We're
while.
back in order here, let's, go ahead and take off where you left off, which I'm not sure where that was, but I'll let you go from there.
So we're gonna transition a little bit, we're gonna go to the water treatment plant, just for everyone's sake, it might go a little faster and go through that one so we can get to the wastewater one. The water treatment plant has a change order number 3, to extend the final completion date from December 16th of 2021 to March 16th of 2022. That's for the slaker to get wrapped up, and then also if there's some painting that goes on the lime silo, we want to have some extra date for the contractor to be around. And it's also including an exhaust fan and louver in the filter room. Mike and Matt experienced some moisture, and they would just like that addition for operations.
Yep.
Okay,
That's
So the-
what that change order
so the
is.
question I would ask, this change order talks about finishing up the slaker and all of that, right? To where it's done. But where are we at on the slaker? Because there are problems with it today and it's not operable. So where are we at on that? Because we've been promised 3 or 4 times, 3 times, I don't want to over exaggerate this, but 3 times that they were gonna make changes. And it seems like we're trying to take a square peg and put it in a round hole.
Right, we had meetings today, 8 and 1, and I think after the 1, meeting, we got a good direction from Valentine. They're gonna add some improvements to the slaker, to the mixer. I can get real technical, but they're gonna add some improvements. They gave us a date of I think it's the 2nd week of January, but it could be the 1st.
They said that they would begin fabricating
The week of the 4th.
the week of the 4th. And then install it the following
So
week.
help me understand, this $78,000 is what we're talking about, right? To change?
No, 64.
64.
So we'd be 27,749.60,
Okay,
right?
and-
If
No,
you,
I think we're just looking at the 11,200 on this one, right?
Okay.
correct, yeah, if you,
Is
We've
that
already-
more for the slaker or is that for the exhaust fan?
that's for the exhaust fan, the
Got it.
louver for the general
Okay,
contractor.
because we're not gonna pay anything more for the slaker.
Oh, absolutely not.
Not happening.
Absolutely
Okay.
not.
Yeah, I'd lose my mind probably, so, okay. That's for
So
the
they're
exhaust
gonna
fans.
start
This
fabricating
addition is for that.
4th of
Correct.
January.
4th of January.
And they're gonna install it the next week.
Yes.
They said they were gonna be there on the 10th.
Plus have guys down to program, do some programming, some testing that needs to be done to see if what they're saying can even be done with our operation.
He did say he would be flying in on the 10th and probably here on the 11th.
Yeah, the Spencer, the lead, whatever he is, engineer, specialist, tech.
So if this fabrication does not work, where do we stand with this slaker deal?
He really couldn't answer that either.
They,
He said they suggested going to the other kind of line, which is higher. And that-
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Why should we have to be changing what materials we're using when the specifications called out what we needed? And secondarily, why should we change to try to make their thing work? Okay, so that's not gonna
Exactly.
work for us.
We tentatively gave them the 15th of January to have this thing
And
running.
then we'll help give it back to them some way or another,
Back on
if it's not working properly. Okay.
Yeah, and that's a sit-down thing I think we all need to do, but that's the point we're at. I mean, this is kind of the last straw, whatever.
Last gasp
Yeah,
effort to try to
they
make this
mentioned
thing
today that they really have never been in this area of slate, going this low with feed rates. So they're gonna throw some ideas at it. It may work and it may fail in the first 2 hours. I mean, they don't know. So I think we give them till the 15th. If it doesn't work, then we
What if it works for a month and then it
give them a
quits?
good. Oh, we're gonna know pretty quick if it's gonna work. I mean, they were on site today, and within, to 2 hours of them being there, in hour 3, we had an alarm show up, and we ran for 3 hours, and then there was an alarm. So they got to see it firsthand, it's not working,
Well,
so.
they're very professional at this. I mean, yeah, if they can't figure it out, nobody can, right? Kinda.
In an area, but I think it can be, it can be done.
Yeah.
It's just a.
Well, I think the problem lies in the fact that they said they've never gone to this low of rates, correct?
Mhm.
And this was, they don't make one the size that we took out. Is that correct, Mike?
Well, I think the other one was actually the same size, but they made a different modification that took care of it.
Okay,
The
so
other
the
flaker
point
actually
being,
worked at the percentage we needed.
these guys are trying to make something fit that they sold us.
But they got the expertise. If anybody can do it, it could be them. They're gonna have to fix the wheel, aren't
I
they?
don't know if
I
I
don't
agree.
know if that's enough.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, we have nothing.
I
to
say
do
we
with
give it a
weight.
shot, and then when we get to the 15th, we'll have a discussion of what, that's all we can do at this point. I mean, we'll give them that at least, let them try to do their thing, and then
50-50,
optimistic.
On a good day.
huh?
You're being optimistic.
You're being.
I'm saying 2080.
That's what he said.
All right.
Okay, move on.
So, yeah, we would ask for, your signature on that. Get that
For the,
process.
that comes up
Yeah.
later, we got it. 11,200, that's for the ventilation.
Correct.
Okay, good. Yeah, only,
We'll
got it.
have to add that as a B, 10B.
And this is change number 3.
Yeah.
No pay request on the drinking water tonight, right?
Then whenever you're ready, I'd like to flip over to the wastewater.
Please, yeah.
We have a change order 1 for part 3, Fisher Grading Contractor. It's the earthwork contractor for the city basins. This change order addresses the modifications to the basins that were done after exposing some unsuitable soils in the lower basin.
Oh, wait just a second. Does everybody have the page?
So that's a, well, that's a pay order. Yeah. Well, okay, so the change, this is saying no money.
That's it, right?
Yeah, this is-
Yeah, it looks like this.
Yeah. Okay. Did you guys find it like that? Sorry.
Page 37.
You can read it.
So this change order was to address the updated basins after we found unsuitable soils in the lower basin. And this was to address this in a nice and clean manner, that there was a change, but for no cost. So we put in a change order, doing it the right way and get that through DNR. It also addresses, in our specifications, we have that the maximum payment on the basins, the upper and the lower basins, instead of being 75%, to jump that up to 90%.
Until testing is achieved. There's a test that occurs, so everyone's aware. After you build these lagoons, these earthen basins, there's a test to verify that it's not leaking. We have to do that because we're putting wastewater in these ponds. And so, like Blake said, the bid specs say 75%. The contractor can earn 75% when he's complete, before testing. And then 100 once it's tested.
So there's 25% retainage until it's tested.
On that, then there's a 5% on the overall project.
Okay.
This is a special retainage for something that has a subsequent test. okay?
And that's a standard practice?
We determined that just based on the value of the liner. There's a 19-inch liner on the city basin. The value of the liner versus if the test, how the test would do, not knowing. So, that's a number we selected. The 75 was just, it's a roughly an $800,000 contract. So a quarter of that's $200,000. Just so you guys have an idea of what's being held on that.
So if I'm hearing you right, then we're talking about it also, the change order also addresses section 01200 in the project manual, and it speaks of going from the 75% to 90% intent?
Correct. That's the.
So if we approve that, we're accepting that.
You're accepting that if you approve it.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right.
So there'll be 10% on the basins and then 5% over on the entire project.
Now, why do we do retainage? I mean, just for everybody's edification, we hold 25% back, or in this case, request of 10%. Why is that typically done on these type of projects?
So yeah, overall the 5 is just to capture if something doesn't work, because we don't have startup yet. 5 is the maximum now allowable by state statute. It used to be 10, about 5-6 years ago they changed it to 5. So 5 is just to make sure everything's gonna work. And it's just, 5's not very much money. So we establish special retainage on parts that we have a lot of risk. And so which we try to make the retainage about equal to the risk. If you guys, so we dream that number up, that 75 is obviously something that we put out there just for you guys, so that's where that came from. DNR doesn't require that, but our bid specifications had that, so, but then the 5 as well.
Why would we want to change it from 75 to 90 in this case?
I can go and speak about
So,
it.
and yeah, this might play into the pay app that was submitted by Fisher Grading, because currently the pay app is at the original bid prices. So this change order also changes those quantities to reflect the updated basins. So, and Chris, you might be able to speak.
Yeah,
to
so
more
I
on
can
what-
step, so basically on this change order, we're addressing two things. You guys, I guess, have the change order in front of you here. So if you look, so item number 7, that was original basin, and then A7 was the alternate that you guys chose to add on, okay? So line item 7, we originally bid at $270,000. A7, which is the alternate, we bid at $250,000. So when we hit the unsuitable soil down near the creek and we changed the plan, we increased the size of the upper lagoon, which is actually the alternate, and then we downsized the lower one, so we moved it north. So we're reflecting that. So basically we're requesting a new quantity price of the smaller lagoon now at $150,000 and the upper one $370,000, and that's more to reflect the amount of work that we're doing. You know, so it's like right now in this pay app, it looks fairly lopsided because it's still under the original contract. But if this is approved, you know, takes, because so right now we're asking for 75% on the lower one. We don't have 75% quite done on the lower one, but we're going off of the amount of yardage we have moved out there. So our pay app reflects the amount of work we have done at the city basins. And, this change order is basically reflecting that and buttoning it up to reflect how it should be. Far as the 25%, a couple things on that. One, we were under the impression that we was going to start this project in July. We was delayed quite a bit. I understand, it's this, DNR, not so much the cities. But we are now looking at, we can't test these basins unless DNR is flexible. Gary and I have talked about some things, but it has to be 32 degrees for consecutive 30 days. So we're looking now if DNR holds solid onto that, which they will, in my opinion.
We asked them, they will hold that. It will be made before we start the test.
Okay. But we had talked about heat lamps and stuff.
They won't do it.
So
So they
we,
want it 32, they're not gonna change.
They will not change. We asked for permission to change for that, and they won't do it.
So it'll be spring.
It'll be spring. It's gonna be, I mean, it's gonna be one of the things where it could be middle of March. It's probably gonna be April 1. It's probably gonna be April 1, May 1. I do not look for much trouble in this test. I look for us to pass it, is my opinion. So therefore, we're gonna have to hold. That is the reason why. If we could finish these things up and immediately go into testing, and the 25% wouldn't be such a big deal, but that's part of why we're asking, because we're gonna be sitting on that money for a while. If the weather allows, we're looking at, 6 to 8 weeks, and then, there is a telescoping valve and a few things that we had to reorder when we made the changes. But that's basically our ask, is we're going to be done and waiting to do the test till spring. So if you guys got any questions, that's kind of what we're looking to do and
I
why.
understand your side of it, from an engineering perspective, he's put in a 25% risk, $200,000 roughly. Now you're saying a 10% risk, 80 grand.
Well,
The numbers guy over here has a hard time swallowing that.
so a couple things with that, this is a bonded job. We're not walking away from it. We're not gonna walk away from it and it's not nothing we can do as a company. So we've done several projects with Bartlett West.
My question was for Bartlett West,
Yeah.
that's why I was curious.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but so if we change these prices on this change order,
Mhm.
so now the upper basin will have a lower percentage, and then the lower basin will have a higher percentage, correct?
Yes.
Because, so that it kind of goes back to the pay application, and you're seeing 75% for both basins. And so now, if you adjust the price that reflects the changes from the geometry of the basins, that'll play nicer in the percentages and the pay app. So I don't know if you know exact percentages right now, but that 75 will probably drop in the
It
upper.
will. So it would see if today's pay app's approved, you will see that on the next pay application, you'll see the percentages change. Or we can, I guess if
We
the,
would change it tonight.
and that's fine.
Change order would go
Yeah,
first.
and that's fine. But I think to answer his question, I think he was getting back to the 25%. Your all's thoughts on going to 10%
I agree.
and the
How
risk.
does the geometry here change the risk of the overall project
It doesn't
by
change.
15 percentage points? Did we mess up on saying it was a 25% risk and it really should have been a 10?
That's a
Or-
judgment call. And so you guys, I work for the city, and so I try to build these bid specs and these contracts in your favor. And I feel like the 25% really protects you. That's why I did that. Somebody
City
could
attorney
argue
agrees,
21.
Just so you know, the city attorney agrees with this, because I'm also not hearing, are you saying that you're 90% completed with this overall project?
No,
Okay.
no.
I just thought I thought I misunderstood you in saying that it was matching the geometry, but just so you know, the city attorney agrees that, I've seen other wastewater projects done where basins have been erected. I've seen where Bartlett and West and Nico and other engineers, 25% after looking at it is fairly standard for the contracts I've seen, based on the risk evaluation by various engineering companies.
So I think another thing, another reason for the ad, just so everybody is aware out at the base, at the basin, we originally did run into some unsuitable soils. We worked 2 weeks, roughly about $80,000. We worked on the lower basin and then had to scrap it to move up the hill. We are not asking, I'll be honest with you, I'm getting some pushback in our office. We're not asking for that, as a plus on the change order. We've dug a lot of test holes and we've done a lot of homework out there because we have had trouble. Be honest with you guys, in the past, in situations like this, we would ask for some change order ups on T&M. We're not asking that. We know the city's on a budget, and this is a huge project. We get that, and so we agreed to stay at the original contract price. Part of that was if, we can move off of the 25% retention. So, I mean, we're saving you guys money. I mean, we're moving more dirt out there. I mean, I think there's 30.
There's 30-some thousand yards from the original plan to this plan. The new plan, there's 30,000 more yards of dirt.
And that's about $4 a yard, to give you guys an idea. So we're talking 120 grand to move. $3 to $4 a yard on that deep dirt, and we gotta pack it, haul it. So,
So let me ask this question. From what I was listening to here, it sounds like that this 30,000 tons you moved, extra right, $4. That $120 you've been willing to not seek an addendum for, but in good faith, you were offering that to us, but if we don't, you may have to reconsider that if we don't vote the way we need to tonight.
see, and that's really not what I'm saying. We're not trying to strong arm anybody. It's just, we've had some things brought up on, I'm just getting all the facts out there. Just to get everything out there that we're really trying to get this done for the original contract price. And at this point in time, we are on track and believe we can do that, so. I did agree and sign this change order on for the net change, or zero change.
So you're saying you're $40,000 a week roughly is what you're saying?
I mean, more than that normally, but that's about what we had in runtime out
I
there.
don't know.
You have questions, thoughts?
So the ground was, Mike, did we get Terracon come out and test?
Yeah.
Did everything tested good?
Yeah.
One thing on that.
How many more days do you have left? If it got up to 60 degrees, when could you, it's not, but how many days do you have left to complete this thing? If you could start tomorrow,
March.
you have 3
I
months
have it.
left, perfect?
No, he's asking how much time you have left and
If you
finishing,
could start
finishing
tomorrow,
the
how long
basins.
could you?
6 weeks. 6 weeks.
You got
So you
6
got
weeks.
6 more weeks out there.
Got
to
6
work.
weeks of running time too.
Yeah, I would say. We gotta do
Well, that
pipe.
ain't gonna happen.
Well, it's not till it's basically gonna be a standstill, isn't it, till,
Not in January.
I think it's gonna finish, but.
As long as it's not frozen, they can continue, as long as the ground's not
As long
frozen.
as we can,
3,000 yards of dirt.
yeah, I mean, as long as we can get lifts, as long as we can get compaction lifts, we're good. And there's things we can do to help that along, to make
But the
it go.
test can't be done till it.
The test at this
you gotta have
point-
3 days continuous of above 32 degrees.
You're exactly
That's the
right.
problem.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, so we're thinking we're gonna be done, we're gonna do the pipe, telescoping valve, have everything done, we'll be gone. And then we will get then when the weather, because we gotta make it, because the problem is, even if we would do it April 1 and we would get a cold spell in the middle of April, we can't have them, and we would get 30 degrees one night, we're not looking to start over. So I mean, I don't know what you guys, but I mean, a safe thing could be, it may be May 1 before we know.
You pull all the equipment out and go.
We'll leave, yeah. Not like, I'll see you guys
Well,
when
I
I'm
know,
here, but
but you pull out and go, and then all of a sudden the weather's ready to go, and you're on another job, what happens then?
Well, he's saying they'll
no,
have the
no,
job.
no, we
We're
will
gonna
not,
leave till the
no,
first
we're not
job.
pulling out his job till we're done.
The
What I'm
job, the job will be finished,
The
we waiting to
equipment.
be tested to meet the
Yeah,
testing
but the equipment,
specifications,
I mean, your
correct?
equipment and all that,
That's right.
you'll leave it here?
They'll be gone. They're
Well, we'll
gonna
be
go
done. There'll be no need for the equipment
They're just waiting for
here.
the test to be able to done for 30 days.
The only reason we would need to bring equipment back in, to be blunt, is if we fail the leak detection test. And then unfortunately, we would have to move back in at that point and deal with that at that time.
So what's our risk? if
So
this
you
doesn't
got
work?
6 weeks you got 6 weeks of moving dirt right now as we speak. Well,
Yeah,
you're looking at the end of February anyways.
If it doesn't
To be done.
rain.
To be done if you get good.
Yeah, if you get good.
I mean, would be more the middle of February.
Middle of
First part of February, yeah.
So you're not gonna get tested anyways till April or May anyways.
Yeah,
so we- Yes.
we wouldn't risk it, with frost being in the ground, I don't start early. I mean, we just take our time and do it right, you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna push the job to get it done in a hurry, when we're gonna be sitting there waiting for a test.
We
We're
think
gonna do it correct.
We think we could potentially, these projects could be set in like 75 to 90 days possibly, without, you know, doing the test. And we want to make sure we get it because I'm assuming you guys are really looking for that capacity, you know, so we want to, yeah, it's just DNR is, you know, we have to have that 30 days of, you know, unless the DNR stays firm on the 30 days, the 2 weeks was, okay,
They won't do less on this one.
okay.
So, just so you know, on this change order, the first paragraph of it, we have to do. It's the no-cost piece of firming up. When we got into the unsuitable materials down there and had to redesign that lower basin, that is to give them permission for what they're already doing, is to build the lower basin as they're building it now, to get away from the bad soil. So just so you understand that this change order has multiple parts involved in it to think about. That's the first one. It's obviously all of your choices, but in the second one, it's pieces of 90%. Keep the total, as you guys see those 2 line items, the total stayed the same, but he understandably reorganized. One is more now and less, but the total is the same. So there's really 2
Just
parts
move
of it.
money out of line 7 and put that in A7.
Because we redesigned it. But then the 90%, so those are kind of 2 things packaged into one change order.
So I think the moving the dollar amounts into 2 line items, I mean, I personally think that's a very simple ask that we need to do. You know, that needs to happen. The asking to go to the 10%, you know, that is something we requested in this change order. You know, a lot of it's for time and, you know, for those reasons. And, you know, I mean, you know, holding, you know, we gotta hold the, you know, wait till, you know, because we may, if winter drags along, we may go up to May 1 before we start the test. You know, which would be June 1, then they would be active, that they could be up and running. And that's probably I would say a realistic.
Last cross in Centralia, Missouri. Any gardeners in here? April 15th for Centralia? No gardeners. Okay. So I think your last cross is somewhere around the mid-April. So, not on average. You know, we had a bad one last year.
Well, Mother Nature controls everything, you know, in this deal. I mean,
Pretty much.
and we're having great weather now, it could be,
Yep.
we can throw out dates all day long and we don't know. Hope you're right, I mean, you don't know. So.
It could be snowing next week.
It could be snowing in May.
If it snows Saturday, that'd be great.
I'll be with that.
All right, I think we're gonna move to the next section now, if there's no other questions, makes sense. Anything else from you guys? Lee?
In the action agenda, yeah, it's later on.
So they request-
Yeah,
Okay,
they'll
we
discuss,
got-
yeah, they'll discuss it there.
Yeah,
In
we'll
just
vote
a
in
minute.
a little bit.
Okay, because the pay request is separate from the change order, so, okay.
We understand.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that moves us to item 5, comments from citizens. I haven't received any by email. Have you had any, Heather?
No.
Anybody else? Okay, any comments from citizens tonight? Okay, that being said, no takers on that. That'll move us to 6, appointments. First is, I would entertain a motion for appointment of Nat Scobie to be moved to police sergeant. Is this right?
So moved. Second.
Have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Mr. Scobie?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry, and thank you for all you've been doing, appreciate it. That moves us to B, appointment of, a motion to appoint Jason Hicks as a full-time police officer.
So moved.
Second.
And a first and a second, appoint Officer Hicks, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Yeah. That moves us to C, appointment of Jay Mills as a part-time police officer. I would entertain a motion to do that as well.
Second.
The first and second to appoint Jason Hicks as Jay Mills is a part-time, we need a two job, buddy. Jay Mills is a part-time police officer, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Tara does swear you guys, you folks in, Jay, and, no, I was gonna say, thank you all for, we're excited to join the police department and, the force. The chief is okay with it, he recommends it okay, I guess.
He says so.
He kind of shrugged his shoulders, so, he and I had kind of a tough day together today, so it's been kind of interesting, but we welcome you guys, and, we appreciate you all having the faith, to join Centralia and help, fulfill our needs in the police department, so welcome aboard, thank you very much.
Jason, you've been an officer before.
Yes, yeah. And you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I come from Columbia PD, so
Okay.
I obviously worked with Chief Hatton there, and we got this awesome gig, so we got this way, so yeah.
Okay, good. So
nice.
that's you, sir.
Chief Awe.
Well, my wife and I have been here about 8 years, and you know, we made this home. Sure.
So with everything that's been going on, I want to help this city because I'm invested in this city now. Kids go to school here, graduated here, we belong to the church, Friendship Church here. I belong to the Masonic Lodge here in town. This is home. So I have a very deep vested interest in my roots are here. So I'm here to help any way I can. And so this is the only way I can serve you that I know of for now. But I'll do the best I can.
Okay, thank you very much. She's gonna swear you folks in.
I state
Not
your
very.
name. Of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
It isn't as below
And
me
the
as you are.
Constitution of Missouri. And the Constitution of
That's
Missouri. And that I will faithfully myself in the office of police officer of said city to the best of my ability.
That's all that is,
You had a pretty mild year this year.
This year's been pretty good. We had some hurricane things.
Oh, really?
That's reasonable.
Okay, we're gonna move to 7. At this point, that's a consent agenda. Of A, Board of Alderman meeting minutes, B, Public Works Utility Committee meeting minutes, C, General Government Public Safety Committee meeting minutes, D, Collector's Report, E, the Treasurer's Report, F, the Investment Report, and G, the Activities Report. As you all get a chance to look that over, I would entertain a motion to approve all as one, or separated as you will see from the.
This is super minor, but on page 15 of the packet, under as may arise, it says Alderman Magley asked about people living in campers or buses. You know of 2 instances that he knows. It's just a
Knows.
grammar error.
So that change can be made.
Page 15, under as may arise.
So the motion will be added with that change.
As amended.
As amended. Yep.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
First and second to approve the consent agenda as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. That moves us to item 8, accounts payable over $1,250.
I make a motion, we approve the accounts payable over $1,250 and a grand total amount of $280,781.50.
Second.
Have a first and a second to approve the accounts payable over $1,250. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. That moves us to item 9, legal. Memo.
So at the November meeting, there were 2 ordinances that were passed, and I had missed the October meeting, and so I didn't have them in my notes. So I reused those bill numbers and ordinance numbers accidentally, so I need to renumber those ordinances. I need a motion from you guys.
So moved.
Second.
Have a first and a second, close second, and, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So item A, the memo motion is passed. Moves us to B, an ordinance proposing changes to chapter 22 of personnel. Anything to say about that?
No, these were the suggested changes that Sydney had sent over regarding the, domestic violence, leave policy. And so it's just an exact copy in ordinance form of what she had sent over, based on changes to the law.
So I would entertain a motion for first reading.
Move that bill number 2429 be given its first reading by title only.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. First reading, please.
An ordinance amending chapter 22, personnel of the Centralia City Code concerning employees.
Move that bill number 2429 be given its second reading by title only.
Second?
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Second reading, please.
An ordinance amending chapter 22, personnel of the Centralia City Code concerning employees.
Move that bill number 2429 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second?
I have a first and second for a roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Roll call vote, please, Tara.
Alderman Hudson,
4.
Alderman Wilkins,
Four?
Alderman Stevens,
Yes.
Alderman Rogers,
4.
Alderman Magley.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
Bill
not-
number 2429 passes. Ordinance number
This isn't.
3111.
3111. Thank you.
I said, I swear to God, when it's used, I saw it on the online agenda. You sent it, but that's not.
That moves us to C.
When I looked at the online version, it's that.
Okay. Moves us to C. Proposing changes to primacy fee.
Do you, what is your, let's see,
Can you take a look at your packet, and in the packet that you all have on the primacy fee, do you see multiple red lines versus just 2 red line changes?
I see a date and a
I
dollar
see.
figure.
Can I come just real quick? Sorry.
I believe you now have the wrong copy. Originally, it was the
Yeah.
correct copy, and now it's not.
Obviously, there's one of them that made some additional changes to it, but it's
I
in the
can-
online packet that was circulated, you guys don't have that?
Well, this is all.
This is online.
Oh, did they change their mind?
I downloaded it.
Yeah, I mean, I
10
literally
minutes
went to the
before I left my house.
website.
6 o'clock.
There was multiple this morning, and I saw it. Yeah, I was like, I saw it that had all the correct red line changes in it, the one that was
No, I
sent
went to
earlier.
the, I mean, I was here, and then I did the download the agenda. But
I
I
can
did this while I
print.
was sitting here.
Right, they only have 2 line changes.
I can print you copies.
Yeah, I understand, but I mean, so it's changed to the old one.
From now.
Yeah, because I bought some 6 o'clock.
So you print out copies.
I'll print you new copies because it does change multiple primacy fees here. These are the ones that.
Well, we on the same page.
So you'll print that off there to see.
The one that sent was, it sent at 410, that was the changes. The one that she sent out at 410, but no, I just looked, they're just not red line.
Oh, okay, okay.
I wonder why. It's
I don't know, so maybe this is the right copy. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Compressed them.
Never mind, the changes are there, they're just not, red,
Perfect.
so.
I'm gonna check this one. You guys are looking at the one in your packet. Are you?
Yeah, I'm looking at the one online, so $21, $102, $98.
The other $98 is what jumped out at me.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, So never mind, sorry about the confusion, this
So
is
we're
correct.
okay then?
It just doesn't
Yes.
reflect the red lines,
Okay.
for some reason the red lines look like they've been accepted.
These are changes that are mandatory, there is an explanation letter in your packet from DNR.
So Bill 2430, is that right?
David, the play will go on.
Huh?
The play will resume.
It will,
Have
yeah.
to.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for first reading of ordinance proposing change to privacy fee of bill number 2430.
I move that bill number 2430 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
Have first and second for first reading only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. First reading, please.
An ordinance amending chapter 26-119.1 fee Federal Safe Drinking Water Act enforcement.
Move that bill number 2430 be given its second reading by title only.
Second.
Have first and second for the second reading of bill number 2430. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes, please.
An ordinance amending chapter 26-119.1 fee Federal Safe Drinking Water Act enforcement.
I move that bill number 2430 be adopted by a roll call vote.
Second.
Have first and second for a roll call vote for bill number 2430. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please, Sarah.
Alderman Hudson,
Four.
Alderman Wilkins,
4.
Alderman Stevens,
Yep.
Alderman Rogers,
Four.
Alderman Magley.
Yeah.
Bill number 2430 passes. Ordinance number 3112. Okay. That moves us to D, setting compensation for a city employee, which would be bill number 2431.
So this ordinance is being passed in, based on your promotion of Stody to sergeant. After talking with the chief, we felt that, he stepped up in a time of need. And so currently he was on a step 4 of our adopted pay scale. So this puts him at the same level as the other police sergeant. So it puts him in a K6. And we did want to clarify that whenever the position of lieutenant was created years and years ago, it was created for title only. And on our adopted job description and our pay scale, lieutenant and sergeant actually are on the same pay scale. So it doesn't make sense. We didn't think that it made sense to do a lieutenant's position at this time if they're going to get paid the same, if it's in title only, and that maybe we can make some changes down the road to make that an actual a higher paid position for the duties that it might entail.
Move that bill number 2431 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
First and second for 2431 to be given its first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. First reading, please.
An ordinance to set the compensation of a certain employee of the city of Centralia, Missouri.
Move that bill number 2431 be given its second reading by title only.
Second.
First and second for bill number 2431 to be given its second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Second reading, please.
An ordinance to set the compensation of a certain employee of the city of Centralia, Missouri.
Move that bill number 2431 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
First and second for bill number 2431 to be adopted. Roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please, Sarah.
Alderman Hudson,
Four.
Alderman Wilkins,
4.
Alderman Stevens,
Yes.
Alderman Rogers,
Four.
Alderman Magley.
Yeah.
Okay, that moves us to E, resolution revising the Centralia policy number 16 concerning per diem rates. This is
This is the one we discussed a
In
while back.
mid-November, yes.
I move that bill number 2432 be given its first and only reading by title only.
Second.
first and second for bill number 2432 to be given its first and only reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. First reading, please.
A resolution of the city of Centralia, Missouri, revising the adopted formal written policy concerning reimbursement for meal expenses for city officers and employees.
I move that bill number 2432 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
First and second that bill number 2432 be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Passes. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Terry.
Alderman Hudson,
Four.
Alderman Wilkins,
Four.
Alderman Stevens,
Yes.
Alderman Rogers,
For,
Alderman Magley.
Yeah.
Bill number 2432 passes. Resolution number.
R-21-12.
That moves us to item 10, purchasing. First is A, approving change order number 1 for Centralia wastewater treatment facility project part 3.
I got a proposal for this. Understand that there's been changes and extra work's been done. The current agreement's at 25% retention. I'd say maybe going to a 20% retention would be reasonable. That'd be about $40,000 extra being paid to the contractor, which kind of splits the extra 2-week difference that's been mentioned on the work that they put in. I guess I'd like to make an amendment to this. So changing the retention from 25% to 20%.
I don't see changing it. It's an insurance for the city.
And I'm
I do
adamantly
this,
against.
I do the same thing they do for a living.
I'm
We deal with
adamantly
the same
against
stuff.
changing it to 10%, but I was just based on the extra work that went in it. It's giving a little, but still protecting the city.
And I get what you're saying, but when it was out for bid, everybody had the same deal.
but we're not even working on what we bid.
So, I say no.
Cause you're my total work.
So do we officially make a motion and vote on it then, amending it, or?
Are we voting or what are we doing?
Well, you can,
You can make the motion with that amendment, with the
That you
change.
making a motion that you would authorize the mayor to sign a change order if the contractor agreed to amending it to 20%.
So moved.
Second.
I have a first and a second.
To change it from 25 to 20, that's what we're voting on?
Yes.
yes, so it would be, this says 90%, it would be 80%.
We hold back 10%.
Well, we'd still be looking back.
We would be holding.
Yes,
back
we'd be
20.
holding back 10%, no, we wouldn't. Is that correct?
You'd be holding back
No.
20% versus the 25 under the,
5% difference.
Well, we would hold,
Just, it's
it
5%.
would still be 20%
Held back.
payout left.
Yes,
Back.
Okay, well, that's
Vote
a
yes.
5% difference there.
yes.
If you vote yes, we're gonna hold back 20%. If you vote no,
I
then we're
agree
heading back to
with
the
that.
drawing
Yeah,
board.
exactly, we're back to
yes.
where we
But,
started.
but we do have an amendment that's been a motion and a second passed to,
Authorize the mayor to sign a change order that would reflect a 20%
20% retainage. Correct.
I would do roll call.
And, so with
It's
that,
different.
I would take a roll
20%
call
we're still
vote on
holding
that, Tara.
rather than 25.
Alderman Hudson,
Four.
They need money.
Alderman Wilkins,
Four?
It'd be like,
Alderman
it'd be
Stevens,
like you guys couldn't work with.
No.
Alderman Rogers,
Yes.
Alderman Magley.
No.
Amendment change passes the 3-2.
2 yeses,
Two.
yes over here.
Three.
We have three
That's
yeses.
3-2.
It passes.
It passes 3-2.
I could live with 20% or, the 10%.
I mean, I'll ask, I mean, contractors, you've heard what the board's gonna do and what they've authorized. Is that something that you're gonna sign now that the city has authorized the mayor to change that, to add the 5%, or are you not gonna sign that?
So here's, I think, where we've been kind of discussing this.
Sorry, I
No, I think it's fine. No problem.
We okay to go ahead and move forward?
Yeah,
So we are going to actually, if we agree to this, we're actually going to revise our pay application, which is gonna change it down to, from roughly 92 to, what is it, 76?
Oh, you're talking about the total?
Yeah, so because we're gonna do,
That's, if we do
I just wanted
So
to
that's,
ask
that's
because
what the,
Well, that's a pay application, so that's.
The percentages for the two different basins are changing.
So what we're saying is, what we're doing is we're changing the percentages on our end to make the pay application come out fair if we agree to the 80%.
Where it works for both those, is you're not.
That's correct. Working for,
right, so you all saw the 75% done for each basin in this previous pay app. Now if that changes, it's approved, so now that percentage in the upper basin dropped down to lower to, closer to 69%. And then the upper base, or the lower basin jump percentages to like 80%. So it's more reflective change than just the 75% for both, when that wasn't, you know.
we just want to make sure that like with DNR and stuff, that when they come out and they're visiting on site, that our paperwork is reflecting what it's done and it's not lopsided, okay? So we would agree to the 80%, we would sign it tonight. And if you with approving this pay application, if you guys can get us paid so I can get this payoff for year-end reports, I'll sign all this.
Okay, now here's what has been happening, so the board is aware.
Yep.
What we typically, with all the other contractors, we get the pay application, we send it to DNR, and we're waiting for them to approve it before we pay the contractor. We have actually paid Fisher Grading twice without getting our reimbursement from DNR first. And so I think that's what you're asking us to do again, is that correct?
That's right, and then we would agree
So
to,
we've already
So
done
we've
that
paid them
twice.
twice and we haven't got reimbursed from
We've
DNR.
gotten reimbursed after the fact, but we did not get reimbursed. We didn't know for sure that DNR was.
The first
Going to
two
sit-
times they
was
did
going to approve
reimburse
that.
us, this will be a third time that we were gonna do it prior to DNR approving the
What are
reimbursement.
the terms
Yes.
on the contract?
Is it because they're slow or what? Is it because they?
No, because DNR ultimately holds the money, right? They're responsible for paying it out. You're basically, no offense, if they're beck and call, right? If there's something that they see in your changes that they don't approve, they can hold up reimbursement to the city. It doesn't often happen. I would say that's a fair statement. It doesn't often happen, but it can. They hold the stick in this circumstance. So typically what cities do, what Centralia typically does, is it asks for DNR's blessing so that you know that once you pay it, that you're getting your money in. I mean, that's just what typically happens for the majority of your contracts.
Guaranteed you're getting
Yeah,
paid.
you're
I feel
guaranteed
like
to be paid.
this has happened, these two cases, just because of pressure on the city. Several phone calls and text messages from Fisher asking for us to pay this out. So,
The agreement in the contract is that it goes through DNR and that happens and then we pay them. Is that what the?
is that what it
agreement
says? I believe it does.
So typically, kind of what the timeline we're working with, if it was, signed tonight and submitted to DNR tonight, they say it typically takes 10 days to pay the city.
Yes.
So that we're landing on the 31st.
which is
But
not gonna happen with, every year.
It'll be past that with the holiday on the 24th. Is kind of what we're at, but they've paid before 10 days in the past as well. I'm just throwing that out there so everyone knows.
And I have no problem if it's signed tonight submitting it, but we don't typically pay out payments. I mean, we're supposed to, our accounts payable is supposed to be at the end of the month. I know we've run some extra special pays to pay this.
We stepped down on the line a little bit here, but it's all depends on whether they approve this or not. And if they don't approve it, we're not doing it, correct? Is that what we're saying here?
No, what they're asking tonight is they wanted the city to go ahead and prepay before DNR gave you reimbursement.
And then we would agree to the 80%, we would lower our pay application by, I think, about 15,000. And then we'll move forward at the 80% and the net zero change order.
And what happens in the next pay? Are we gonna have the
Then
same kind of
so here's
agreement,
the
or are
thing.
we
So
gonna
if you-
hold you
if this
that
gets-
we get reimbursed
If this
first?
gets, if we can get this off our year-end books, we have no problem waiting the rest of the job until DNR pays. Only thing we ask is as long as it's, we've had some cities, and you guys seem to be organized, we have had some cities where they don't send it off. They just, and then, you know, they, you know, drag it out to 60 days. But if you got, I mean, because they're getting it. I mean, you guys are
We get it from Bartlett, we get it signed, and we get it sent. I would
within a
say
couple
they'll-
days.
Within a couple of days.
So
Every
then,
single time.
so I would say, if we get this one, so we can get off our year-end books, then we would be fine with waiting. So, so when we submit an application in January, the first Monday of January, and then if it's approved here, I guess you guys are third Monday, if it's approved, then you guys can issue us a check in 2 weeks or wherever after DNR's reimbursed you. That is fine.
So we're not gonna prepay it? Is that what we're saying?
He's saying that they'll sign it if we go ahead and authorize this payment before DNR gets it, but in the future, they will follow the protocol in the contract.
So the third time,
And
we're.
so this is the third-
So
this
the
is the
third
third
time,
time.
we're not following protocol.
So what if DNR says we're not doing it?
Then we're out that
We're
money.
out the money.
Well, then I'd say we don't do it.
We already voted.
Well, no, you
Well,
voted
there's
no.
I mean, why should we be out the money?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I mean, yeah, there's a chance DNR won't say, but there's a chance DNR could say.
So here, Fisher would like to get paid before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm
Yeah.
hearing? So, and you've, you know, came down off your original payout?
Yeah.
Some amount, but, so what he's asking is if you, everything's signed tonight at the 80%, we do the change order that's lower, sign it, get it all packaged and sent to DNR. Tonight, the 10-day markup for DNR to return payment to you all would be the 31st. Is that what we're running with?
So
Because
if
it's-
DNR don't pay, is Bartley and West gonna make up the money and pay for it?
Because they're gonna get paid, Fisher's gonna get paid regardless, whether DNR reimburses
That's-
us or not.
that's
Right,
exactly
it's just-
right.
It's the end of the year.
we're getting, so in the contract, and if you wanna.
We
get
knew
rid of-
this project was gonna go after the end of the year, correct?
Right, well, what I'm saying, the payment to the city, it's either gonna be on the 31st or after the 31st, and they would like it before the 31st.
Yeah, we would just-
If we have confirmation from DNR that they're going to approve it, then I think that that's sufficient. But if we're just going to pay it and we have no idea whether or not DNR is going to pay it, I don't think that's sufficient. Because we're still
Too
in
much
limbo.
risk. It's too
That's
much-
too much
too much
risk,
risk.
and we've
We-
already done it twice.
We've done it 3 times, this will be the 3rd time if we're gonna do it. There's a reason there's contracts in place, there's a reason you read specifications, there's a reason you bid a job. We do it all the time, I do biogas jobs and everything, the company I work with.
But
You have to take into consideration retainage and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and maybe I'm unclear, I'm not saying you all do the checkbook tonight, I'm saying you all wait for
We
DNR
understand
payment.
what you're saying, but we're saying we're not gonna guarantee we're gonna pay it by the 31st if we don't have approval.
Right, that's what I'm trying to get all parties to understand that.
Absolutely. If we have approval by DNR, even if they're saying, we're gonna pay you on January 4th, but they've already sent the email saying that we're going to do it, we'll cut you the check on the 31st. But if I don't have that approval, we're not going to authorize the check.
In fairness, that's the only way I feel comfortable with it.
That's meeting halfway there, I mean, that's
I
talking to
think
me.
that'll happen by the end of the year. I think that'll happen by the end of the year. I think DNR will approve it by the end.
If we get it
It's
all signed
close.
tonight, I will submit it tonight. I will send it before I go home.
Well, the bottom line is if they approve it, we haven't got the money yet, we'll still pay it before the end of the year. That's what we're asking for, guarantee that they say they're gonna approve it. Checks it out, we have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think getting DNR to approve it before end of the year with the holidays, I think that's a pretty far stretch.
And like I mentioned before, the 24th is probably a holiday, so that 10-day gap just got down to, I mean, it's,
Just not gonna happen.
it's a tight window is what I'm getting at.
I
But it's
get-
possible, it's possible.
We will do our best. We will try, we will submit it. I will do it very expeditiously. Expeditiously. That's not,
Big
that's not
American,
a
I
family.
understand what's going on.
I mean, it's a small payment, but I mean, they're gonna have to pay for it, if DNR don't approve it. You know what I mean?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Can we do the 80% deal, sign off on that, do the pay app, submit it tonight, we'll submit it tonight, get with DNR in the following days, and try to get them to look at this, faster. Before the end of the year, to get money to the city, for then the city to give to Fisher Grading. Can we all agree on that?
We're just saying the approval comes to us. We're not saying check has to be in our hand by the 31st. If we get an email from them saying it's approved,
We'll
then
cut
we're
the
more than
check,
happy
get
to
it out,
cut
and
it.
send it to you.
But we are
It's
still,
something.
we want the protocol followed for the
As the
remaining
contract.
payouts.
Right. Okay, I guess if that's where it's at, we'll see who signs what, and we'll go from there.
I mean, are they gonna accept, are you gonna accept it?
I mean, I'm thinking, I'm thinking, it's just, we've just done so much extra work out there. We're willing to leave it at, a net zero change order. It's,
Well, see, now here we go back to that
But there's-
zero change order. That frustrates me, because it's almost like you're threatening that you're gonna change that and wanna come back to us for money of these tonnages that you've moved. You bid a job. That job had X amount of material. Yes, there are things that come up in a job. You should have never signed off already on the fact that you weren't gonna charge us for that, if you had a real problem with it. So we almost got a bait and switch, and now we're switching numbers. I don't feel comfortable with how this is going. To me, real good about it at this point, because we're negotiating after a fact of something we offered, and they either do that or they don't. Because we've made with the amended 20% is where we're at. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but the bottom line is it's business, and at the same time, it's the city's business. It's the citizens' business, and that's what I'm in business to make sure I take care of, and we are. And so we've done, this will be the third time we will have done something that was not the protocol, and
They're gonna hit the roof one of these days. and-
well, you don't know, it's probably
You
very
don't
little
know.
risk, but I mean, you set precedents of how you engage in business, and that can be problematic. That's my thought,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll hush up. I've had a long day, but I'm trying to be business-minded, be fair. We wanna be fair. We appreciate the work that's been done, so I don't in any way, shape, wanna make it sound like we don't. But I think we tried to do something to meet part of the way, but we're finding out more things after the fact of how the pay's been distributed, which changes my mind in some ways about what we should or shouldn't do potentially. That's all I'm saying. I'm becoming a little bit more informed about some things, and as we become more informed about those things, if this be the third time we didn't do it by protocol, we start to extend that risk. And, if I wouldn't do it myself with my money and my deal, then we don't do it here for the city, people and the citizens.
No, I agree.
So,
I think we gave enough tonight, so we just wait
Well, I
for
think-
the approval and do the best we can, that's
I'll
all we can
submit it
do.
tonight.
so we're at so we're gonna go, so we're agreeing at 20% versus the 25,
5% difference.
5% difference,
yes.
okay.
And we want to pay you the money. We want to be able to get the approval and pay the money. My point is, we should trust one other fact that we want to do it. We've been wanting to get you money, so we went around the rules the first couple times to try to understand you gotta have cash flow, and you bid jobs, and you get tight, I get that. And so we've tried 2 times, we've already done that, and we want to get money to Fisher. And we want to help you guys stay liquid and what you need to cover your costs and so forth like that. We've done that. Being asked for a third time, we're saying we're gonna try to do that, absolutely if we can, as long as we get from DNR some sort of a notification that they're gonna process the payment to us.
So we'll sign the 80%, and then so you're saying once DNR emails you, they've approved this?
We don't have to have the
particular
funds, we just have to have that, and
And
then
that-
we will immediately
So,
cut you a
so
check.
we will do that, so if you guys can print them off, we'll sign the change order and pay up here.
We have no problem doing that.
Okay.
I mean, that part of it, I feel comfortable with that, but you understand what I'm saying from the
We,
standpoint of what we
yeah,
gotta
we
do?
do, I just have to,
I understand both sides
Yeah.
of this thing, but to me, it almost got to where, and I know you didn't mean it, but I just wanna make sure that we're really clear that because we have a project to finish together. And I want us to be partners in doing that, not be adversaries.
well, and I just wanna be, clear, too, some of the reason, like the finding, out there, we did stop a week or so. we were concerned about the quality of the project we were gonna give the city, so we stopped,
And we appreciate that.
you know.
Trust me, we do, we appreciate that. So, bottom line is, you're accepting of the fact that we in good faith,
Yep,
by the UCC code, are dealing in good faith in this amendment to try to get the money to you. As soon as we get notification, we will get reimbursed.
fair
We do
enough.
not have to be reimbursed before we give you money, which is how it should be. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pay you if we get notification that they're gonna allow it. Make sense?
yep, sound, yep, and we'll sign.
So the one question I have left is, what about the percentages? You guys saying you're changing percentages around, are we going to agree as a city that those percentages are right on the completion?
I was gonna say, just so everybody knows, and Alderman, Lannon was mentioning that, is you guys have changed the contract. We haven't, the next thing we were looking for tonight was, presenting to you as the pay request. So now those, it went from 75 available, they may not be, you know, that's what we're gonna talk, to 80, right? So they can go, there's two basins, 80 and 80 is what they can get maximum before you set. So now we get to talk about the pay application.
But they don't have that in their packet, and that's not before the board right now. I hear what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
But that's not in the packet.
Okay.
That was not included as part of the discussion items for the board tonight. Am I incorrect about that?
No, that's correct. And
Okay.
So they don't have that before the board, and that was not posted on the previously public, you know, the previously published agenda.
My apologies, I thought it was, okay.
Am I incorrect about that? I mean, Kara, or? Yeah, no, so, I mean, that's not something that we can just add as an addition.
Okay.
But we can actually approve those without the full board approval because the mayor was authorized to sign those payment agreements.
Well, but they've been, I think I would advise at this point, somebody just needs to look over those. Maybe Mike needs to take an opportunity to look over that with the mayor, since there's been, I think, a little bit more heated discussion at this point. I hear what you're saying. But I think Mike at least needs to review that first.
Yeah, what do you have to say?
There's a pay app in that application, or
That you
that
guys
packet.
have.
It's the old, pay app at the,
This one.
at the old unit prices.
Let's do it.
So now this change order comes into play, and now there's new unit prices.
We was gonna reflect the pay app on this one.
Because
Understand,
we,
the point is, when that changes, we can't, it's not on the agenda, we can't.
That's what we had at the beginning of the meeting. It's in your packet.
Oh.
What she's saying is that it's not, I think your lawyer's slightly confused, because I don't see that on
It's not
the
on.
change order, which is what was submitted that we were talking about for the mayor to sign. That's all I'm pointing out. I
This
was
is-
confused,
This
sorry.
is the change order.
Oh,
And
and
then
it is
that's the-
attached?
Yeah, it's the front. It's the wastewater.
It's on the back
treatment.
side of change order.
It's on the,
Change order was
yeah, that's the change order. So what would that change the numbers to?
so we, I think, I mean, to reflect their old pay app that was in your all's packets,
What was that number?
that was 75% for the upper and 75% for the lower.
Okay.
Now with the new prices implemented into the pay application, Fisher would be submitting 80% on the lower and 69% on the upper.
And I think
That's what
that's,
they're asking for.
Flip
I
flop.
think that's flip
No,
flop.
because the price went up on the upper basin. If you look at change order one,
Okay.
Does that mean?
so
what
you've
is
got
the
a bigger,
total cost then on the pay, on the?
what's that,
request?
sorry?
What's the total cost on the pay request with those changes?
That cost is $78,372.15.
Down from $92,337.
So
Yes.
you've lowered your
We
side
lowered our
by the
pay app.
change in the pay app.
That's
and
right.
the Others to come later.
Okay.
That's right, we,
So it
yes.
hasn't gone up $20,000 for us, you
We-
went down.
We actually went down, that's one reason why we was, yes.
Trying to get the money now, I get that.
We lowered it that X amount of dollars to make everything, the paperwork and everything.
Does that satisfy your question? Not my question.
Well, no, so does that mean we're 80% done on the lower, or does that mean we're 100% done on the lower? Just trying to make sure I understand. the
We're
numbers.
still only 80% done, we just can't bill no more out. You know, the percentages of completion are always the same.
They
We
can always
just,
bill to the 80% until the job is approved.
yeah, I can be 100% done, but you guys can't pay me that
20%
20%.
until it's done.
And then that
The
test comes into
The test has
play.
to be done for
Can
30
you
days.
send that to us so I can print that for them to see?
Or is that, are we good with that then? That,
If this is what we're looking to approve, I'd like for them to see it first.
Yes.
absolutely.
We just was wanting to approve a pay app to match the change order here tonight, so all the paperwork is on track.
Okay, understand.
So are we in agreement that we're 80% done on the lower and 69% done on the upper?
So maybe something official. 75% done with the job?
I would say,
So you got 80 and 69%, which is basically 70. So 80 and 70 is 150. So are we 75% done with the overall job?
Pretty close to that, yeah.
Okay. That's I think the thing I mean, how much of the job has been done? If we're close to that, then I think we're fine as far as that part.
Are you gonna send that to my email?
I can't, you want, Heather, you want me to send it your email or mine?
Mine, please. And I'm gonna print it right now for them to see.
Okay.
So the worst scenario, we're off about 5%. I hope.
I think a lot more come out after we voted.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think we'd be at the 20%.
So moving on, there will not be any more. If the weather permits and everything should go safe sailing right on through, right? You don't foresee any more problems? I mean, right now, Mike?
And the 20% won't be due until the standard
Yeah.
test of 30 days goes by.
Correct, yeah.
That would become due. You can be completely finished with the job, but you're waiting on the weather to get to.
and that's what we're
That's what
anticipating.
you're planning on finishing the
Yeah.
job and being standing by and waiting to get your money and to get it by the test being approved.
If this was June, we wouldn't even have a problem, would we?
We would, if this was June or we started 2 or 3 months earlier, we wouldn't even be asking for this change order on that, changing the percentages.
It might be June.
Because I think, as of right now, the only thing we are waiting on is that telescoping valve, and I believe it's got a January 15th ship date now.
But that doesn't hold you up from work.
No, absolutely
It's not
not.
stopping the project.
Absolutely
So
not,
You
no.
go ahead and be busy.
That's getting down to the final
Productive, yeah,
touches.
final stuff, yeah.
My only request in the future, if we're gonna have payment term changes also, that should have been in the change order, I would think. It should have, it feels like it was brought up after we made a decision on something.
What was brought up after?
The payment term changes on this, trying to speed up this extra payment versus following the Ts and Cs on the contract.
Well,
It's like two-thirds was brought to us, oh, then here's this other. I mean, I'll tell you what, I would not have voted to change it if, with all of this stuff, with everything I've heard.
And we can work on portraying that better, but we didn't, so we were running with the 90% and it got changed here tonight to 80%. So that,
Did you send that?
I'm getting it right.
No, I think that's fair, Alderman Hudson, that, you know, when the attorney, you guys wanna see the full picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're making a decision.
Yeah, because I don't think we'd be at the 20%. I think we'd still be at 25%.
Sorry, just a second.
So we did this 2 other times, correct?
Yes.
For what dollar amount?
Probably 160 and 170.
I was gonna say 300 and some thousand.
And both times we got the okay.
After the fact.
After the
After the
fact, we
fact.
get with
Yeah.
us.
It's just, yeah.
Not getting it at all.
It's a
Yeah.
low,
Well, it's a little nerve wracking when you're
Yeah.
on this
It's a
end
low- it's a
sending that
low-
check and you don't know.
it's a low percentage
if
gamble,
they-
but it's still a gamble. Would you wanna gamble with
No, I wouldn't.
$100,000 in your pocket?
That's why I wanted to make,
No, you're gambling
to get it all very
300.
clear.
Well,
we're not
I'm
doing
just
this
making it
again.
to a personal level. maybe 10,000 might be more personal, I don't know.
All right, Heather, I just sent that to you.
No, he just sent it. Just keep refreshing. Yes. Still hasn't come through, I'm sorry. I should have just hooked you up to our printer. No, Matt Rush is back there. Is it still in your outbox?
Says it was sent.
Is it showing
Probably,
it's in
it's
your
probably
outbox?
going through all of our.
Yeah, it's in the outbox.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that a bad thing to move on, so we can wrap everything up?
we'll come back, we'll see, we'll finish this,
Because there's no motions
as
or
we're
anything
waiting
yet,
on-
there's sitting there, so, sorry.
we have an agreement as approved, but we'll have to move on. Let's move on to, is there any old business?
Well, we have the change order for the water.
Oh, yeah,
treatment
sorry
plant.
about that, yeah, number 3, that's, change order number 3 for the WTP of $11,200, which is for ventilation. Correct?
Yes.
Correct.
I'll accept a motion approving that purchase.
I move that we approve change order number 3 for $11,200.
Second. Have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Change order approved. New business from the mayor. I don't have any, that I know of. So, on to our city administrator.
My report's in the packet. It does seem a little bit, small. I felt like this month, we spent a lot of time on personnel and working through the interviews to hire Chief Patton. So took up a lot of time, but if you have any questions about, anything in my report, let me know.
Okay, that moves us to 13, our city attorney. Anything for us?
The only update is that pre-filing of legislative bills has started, so Missouri Municipal League will once again kind of push out a notice for cities of bills to watch, and we may be asking you all to come and speak on any particular bills. I haven't heard anything in particular that's, rises up. I mean, the legislature has a ton of money it has to try to distribute this year. So what I am hearing is the only bills that may ultimately get passed are the redistricting bill that has to pass by February and the reconciliation bills for budget. So we will see. There's a lot of stuff to be done. I'll let you know as it moves forward.
Okay, thank you. Moves us to 14, city clerk, is there anything? We have one on here, as may arise, A, drainage issues at Mystic Ridge subdivision.
That's mine.
Okay.
I don't know the house number. Mike, you've been out there. It's the last house.
839, is that right?
I think I texted to you, the house number. Anyways, when her house was built 8 years ago, they dumped all the water and it's eating away her backyard. So like it's flooding, and then when we get a lot of rain, cause that drainage ditch is behind her house as well. So she's got water coming from our subdivision, and I don't know where else. I don't know if it's across the water tower or
It
not.
comes out of Stanton's Field, plus across from Tidball, basically the backside of it. The ditch really never got cleaned properly.
Yeah.
And now it's grown up with cattails, it's a mess back there. When it does rain heavy, it's halfway to 3/4 way up her yard.
Like if her house wasn't up like it is, like her backyard goes like this, and if her house wasn't up, water would be getting into her house from this.
Mystic Ridge, I'm trying to.
That's where
By the
I,
water tower.
Oh, I
Behind-
think,
yeah.
no, I get you.
so behind Alice, that's my neighbor.
Okay.
Floodplain, anyone, kinda?
Pardon?
Wasn't it kinda built in a floodplain, kinda?
It's got some up and downs to it. It's also picking up, basically from Lakeview on the west side of the water tower, the new section that possibly is gonna get started. It's picking up a 36-inch pipe there that's also dumping there.
Can it be fixed with hardly some, no?
I don't know.
What's the,
There's not
yeah,
much
I
ditch.
need a solution to tell her, or at least we're working on it.
Well,
She thinks, so the land behind us just got sold, apparently, and he's planning on putting in a street and houses. So she wants it to be this new builder's responsibility to fix it. It's not the same builder who built our neighborhood, it's a new one. So I don't know if that's something we can make,
You can't transfer, I don't think, responsibility to somebody.
but that he's gonna be using that to drain in that new neighborhood, is the thought.
We can mention it to him as an improvement that he might need to look at. I don't know if we can push it. I really don't.
I was gonna say, water's a common enemy, but the city does need to be aware that it doesn't exacerbate the situation. So I will warn you, there is a case out there that exists, that if we are aware of a drainage issue and we allow it to be added to or compounded on, that then becomes the city's responsibility. So we will have an obligation to notify the contractor if he or she intends to use that as a runoff.
Which
It
is-
need not
It's
Add to the
starting to
problem.
take away her
It's gonna
backyard.
add to the problem.
Like
So that
it's-
will become his problem.
Okay, got it.
So can we do something just to show that we're trying to do something?
Cause she feels like she's been coming up here and talking and talking and talking and talking, and it's been 8 years and it's still there.
We've
It's still a
actually
problem.
cleaned that ditch a couple times, right on the west side of our house. We went in and cleaned that out for, took all the cattails out right there. We don't have the equipment that's gonna go in and clean all that ditch right now. It's gonna take basically a small track hoe to fix it.
What?
So
Build a waterway, that's what you're gonna have to build, right?
it needs to be dished out better. It's gonna have to have a little terrace go through there, so.
Well, what's keeping us from ditching that out? We don't have the equipment, is what you're saying.
Well, we don't have it right now. And
We're
it
waiting
wasn't
up to
on-
come back.
yeah.
Everything's being worked on.
No, we just don't
We
have
don't have
the
that piece
equipment.
of
We
equipment.
don't own it.
Okay, got it.
She the only one that's having a problem out there?
It's just her backyard that I'm aware of. I haven't heard from
One
any of the
next
others.
door has some issue, not as bad. She gets the brunt of it, so.
And then
I've been
she-
out a couple times. We've tried a couple different things. It's
Okay.
just minimal though, what we're getting done.
And then she wants to know her property lines. Is that something we do, or is that
I
something
can-
she's gotta figure out?
Well, I can show her off the plat map where it
Okay.
is, but
Cause she said that she was told there was stakes showing where it was, but I don't know. I told her I'd ask. I have no idea.
There are
Her
stakes
land
in the
is getting
front.
flooded.
I'm sorry?
there is stakes in the front. It's still showing, 'cause that's where a lot of the utilities went off at to know where to stop and everything.
Yeah.
So there is a stake in the front, I know that for sure.
Okay.
There's also a transformer and everything
Right,
there.
and she's got it all gardened, yeah.
Yeah.
But ultimately, a surveyor is the only person that can legally provide her with the actual legal metes and bounds.
And
of
that would be her
property.
responsibility.
Correct.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'll tell her that. And then what do I tell her about the situation of the flooding and eating away her backyard?
as it currently stands, it's not the city's responsibility, but this new contractor, if they move in and they plan to use that as a drainage point, we will have an obligation to be knowledgeable of that so that that contractor is aware they will have to do something to make sure they do not expand from the existing situation.
Okay.
And I think she has talked to John.
Fix it,
about
not
it.
make it work.
So-
Yes, I mean, expand,
Yeah.
yeah, correct, as
They
it
just
is
can't
right
add to it.
now, yeah.
So we're
Can't
not
add to
obligated
it.
to fix it, just to make sure he doesn't make it worse, that's all, that's our obligation.
Not to cut you off, are we done? I mean, that's,
Sure.
she's not gonna be satisfied probably.
Oh, no, because
Completely, because it's
a
still,
mess,
we're
yeah.
gonna her yard. Golly, Centralia wasn't a little flatter, we really haven't made, were we? That being said,
it probably, I should have brought it up under old business a little bit, but we talked about the church that's falling completely in and is completely becoming a health hazard and danger over there. What have we found out? Anything on that?
Nothing new.
Okay. Where are we at and what do we need to do? I mean,
I'm not really sure. I know we talked about it last Monday.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
just last Monday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, you're gonna get back to us on that. You'll work on that and I'll help any way I can, okay? On that one. That's all I had. So now we're back to this, because the next thing is to adjourn.
I think, yeah.
Gary, have you been out there?
Yes, I have.
Are we 75% done with the job? Your honest opinion, are we 75%?
The lower basin's got a ways to go. It really does.
Are we 75%? That's what I wanna know. I wanna know a percentage of what we're at. Your honest opinion. Not, yeah, we're 75%, or no, we're not, or, I wanna know.
So the upper basin right now is, I'm looking at it on the map, thinking about this, it's there on the picture, but it's basically, to me, that one is done except for the northwest corner. It needs to go down 9 feet, which is a lot of material in that corner, and it needs a liner put in. Okay, so I would call that one, I mean, it looks, you can, when you walk out there, you see, there's the basin, it's there. I realize that corner's gotta go down. That one's probably 75% done.
Is this the upper one or the lower?
That's the other one.
All right.
That's the big one. Okay? The bottom one at this point, if I had to throw a number at it, again, this is by me looking at it,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna call it 45. That's me. If you looked at it, you might say a different number.
So that's 65% then, combined.
Yeah,
What's that?
yeah, combined. And that's pretty close.
Cause what we're getting ready to pay is that they're saying 75% of the job's done, right? That's what we're getting ready to write the check for?
No, we're not writing a check saying there's 75%.
That's what we're discussing right now, that they are 75% done with the job.
That's the 0.8 and the 0.69, right?
Yeah.
Where does it say? I thought we were saying we're paying 80%
I don't think we're.
of the funds, not what's.
I mean, I think we're talking the basin's not the overall, you guys have not paid us out 75% of the overall contract,
No.
is to be clear.
But if we're putting in 80%, 69%, and, you know, some of the other numbers or suggestions we're hearing is 45, maybe it's 55 and 75, and that's a big difference, and it adds up.
So far.
With this change, what do we have paid less than 50%
Well,
of this contract?
if 75% is 30 days work out there and you have to work 32 days, that's just 2 more days.
Our should pay less.
You know,
We've already agreed on that.
that's not,
I
you
mean,
just get
I-
the job done, you just finish the job.
You were saying that with this payment, we will pay 50%?
Less than 50.
So with this
50% of the whole
payment,
contract.
she's saying that we pay less than 50% of the contract.
Or maybe it's 54. Or maybe it's a little bit more. So
That's
there's
55.
400 left.
55, say?
Looks like it's yeah, you got it right there, 54%. So this is 54%, yeah.
With this change order, we paid it'll be 54% of the contract.
Yes, correct.
With this tonight, what we agreed with.
Yes.
Right.
And that's
Okay.
not to say we won't have any more change orders.
But we're gonna go down the right path on the next changes. Contractually
Yes.
path. Contractual,
Yeah.
however, whatever the word is. Okay.
So we should just.
Final check won't be as much as it would have been.
What do I say?
Therefore, we'll be
Motion
happy.
to approve the pay application of the forms.
Actually, it is not.
About
It is a
being
motion
happy,
to
it's about
approve
making
change
sure it's
order
done
number
right.
one for the Centralia wastewater treatment facility improvement plan project part 3.
I thought we already did.
Let's go, David, make a motion.
I thought that, but I thought they had that attached to this. The change order with the approved is what you've got in front of you, and then this was attached, that's what they did.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we need to reapprove it then.
Yeah, you need to reapprove it. Now that you've got the
Okay.
approved, it's approved, sorry.
Okay, you're good.
Looking at you, let's go, motion.
So we have to
I only
approve.
heard half the
Sorry.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
Change order number 1 as resubmitted, because now they,
So we're back to 10, approving change order number 1
As resubmitted.
as resubmitted.
it has the 80%, And then
80%,
it has the
80/20.
pay order attached in the amount of $78,372.15.
You know, would you like me to help you craft a motion? Would you like
I'm just trying to see where that number was.
Line 8.
Right there on the front, the 78,000 is on the front part of the
Line
the
8.
application.
Line 8. No, on the other side.
No.
Yep, 78, 372.15.
And also the whole bottom line.
Amount due to
That's
application.
what we're
Tell me
talking
when you're ready and I'll
about.
help you,
No.
or
Before we
whoever's
run
gonna
the
make the
check.
motion.
So once again, I move that we,
You got
Not
a small
all.
change.
Oh.
Remember, don't forget you need the DNR approval in there too, prior to payment.
And we still leaves us $400,000,
Sorry.
about $500,000.
That's why I gave it to y'all. I was like, nope, over there. That's way too much.
oh,
I would come back with $400,000.
How about pending DNR approval, I make a motion to approve change order number 1 as resubmitted for the Centralia wastewater treatment facility improvement project part 3.
So moved.
No, I can't. He
You
has
can't
to-
use this, say that. Can you do it? I can't.
Do you want me
I can't repeat that.
huh? So, well, you,
Pending.
Pending
So
DNR's
pending?
approval.
oh, pending DNR's approval, resubmit for change,
I
or
make a motion. to-
make a motion, we approve change order number 1 as resubmitted with a payment of $78,372.15.
Second.
Okay, second.
Have a first and a second. All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And nay. You need to give me nay.
Nay.
You have a nay. Motion passes. And
Just one day.
one nay.
Yes, one nay.
Thank you.
One nay.
I think we're
And that moves us to item 16, which I entertain a motion to
done.
adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
First and second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?